Legal bombshells were expected today in the case of a convicted pimp and kidnapper serving a life sentence. Ocean Fleming has been behind bars since 2011, serving what could have been a life sentence. But after Fleming filed an appeal based on allegations of police corruption, he was offered to drop nearly all of the charges against him. Now, the story has been followed exclusively by the I-Team, and George Knapp is here with the latest.
Well, you know, today was finally the day. Ocean Fleming's lawyers have fought for months for a chance to question under oath a number of police officers, a prosecutor, and some of the prostitutes who once worked for Ocean Fleming. By offering a deal to Fleming, the state was able to avoid 3 days of embarrassing and possibly incriminating testimony. But this is not the end of it.
Ocean Fleming was so prominent on the streets of Las Vegas that he was widely known simply by his initial, O. Now, nearly 7 years after his arrest, Fleming has agreed to drop his attempts to get a new trial. The plea deal was accepted on the very same date set for an evidentiary hearing, when defense attorney Janice Marshall would finally get her chance to question a parade of key witnesses about alleged corruption.
It's obviously Mr. Fleming's choice of whether or not to accept this plea agreement or not. Certainly, we have worked extremely hard to contact all the witnesses, to develop the information which has been all set forth in our pleading.
The truth and fact, you are guilty. Counts 1, 2, and 3.
Yes, Your Honor.
In 2011, Fleming's lucrative prostitution racket was targeted by star Vice Detective Chris Boffman and his pimp enforcement squad. Fleming suspected that Boffman was secretly working for a rival escort service owner named Jamal Rashid, better known as Molly Mall, who allegedly supplied officers with women and cash in exchange for police help in eliminating Rashid's competition. In 2014, FBI agents raided Rashid's Las Vegas home, the first public hint that a corruption investigation was underway. By that point, Fleming was already in prison. In court motions, his attorneys argued that Boffman and others had crossed the line by coaching witnesses to exaggerate what were already serious crimes. Fleming was hit with 23 felony counts. Judge Villani sentenced him to what could have been life behind bars. Under the plea deal, Fleming agreed to drop his appeal, admit his guilt to 3 of the most serious charges, but 20 other charges will be dropped. Janice Marshall will not get to question witnesses, but the affidavits she obtained from key witnesses have been entered into the official record, including statements from prostitutes who worked for Fleming.
It is all part of the record. I was permitted to depose Detective Boffman, former Detective Boffman, who elected to plead the fifth to all my questions relating to Ocean Fleming's prosecution and the investigation of Ocean Fleming.
And while this inquiry into alleged corruption may have ended, 2 others are still active. The affidavits filed in the Fleming case could resurface in the appeal of Raymond Sharp, serving 13 life sentences for crimes investigated by the same vice cops.
Raymond Sharp will be back in court later this week. He's looking for new counsel. In the meantime, we do not know the status of the FBI investigation. It's been underway for 4 years, but no charges have been filed, nor do we know if or when any indictments might be handed down. Back to you.
Thank you, George. Man pretending